everyone. I'm your host, comedian, magician, Danny Whitson. But it's all tricks aside, because tonight we're turning the paranormal into the normal. Join me as we explore the gray areas of reality. We're going to talk all things paranormal, UFOs, ghosts, cryptids, and aliens, and see how it's all connected. This podcast is brought to you by the Experiencer Support Association, and we are live. So if you're an experiencer yourself, or you're just plain nosy, be sure to send me your question and subscribe to the podcast. Now, get ready, because it's going to get deep. No, really, we're going to go way out there, because this is Beyond the Tinfoil Hat. What's happening, paranormal junkies? Welcome to Beyond the Tinfoil Hat, and I'm your host, Danny Whitson. Guys, we are broadcasting live from the E-United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network on 105.3 FM on the Gulf Coast and 107.7 in New Orleans. Guys, we got a fantastic show lined up for you this evening. This guy's got a lot. There's a whole lot. This guy can do a lot. He knows a lot. So it's going to be a very interesting time. So in the comments, get your questions ready, because this guy's going to have some really cool stuff he's talking about today. Let's welcome our channel and spirit guide, Toni Ghazi.
Hi, guys.
Hey, Tony, now I hope I said your last name right. I didn't jack it up, right?
No, you actually did it perfectly. So thank you.
Awesome.
You did it. Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, Tony, if you don't mind, do you care to let the viewers and the listeners learn a little more about yourself?
Yeah, of course. So my name is Toni Ghazi. So I'm Lebanese originally. I was born in Lebanon, and I moved to the US when I was 15 years old. Spoke zero English, but you figure that out as a child. And I live in Washington, D.C. I have always stuttered all of my life. So I have a speech impediment, and I use the word like, and I use to kind of help me transition. But when I was younger, I used to stutter really bad for years. So I was like 25, like to the point that I didn't like going to school, because I was always get picked or chosen to speak. And here comes the stuttering of a bit. But when I began channeling, all the stuttering goes away. Like every time I'm under like the trance channel, I speak fluently beyond. And it's and it was my first kind of proof to me that, oh my God, I am in another state. Because I know I've been like a prisoner of my throat, of speech, all my life. And I still am, like, to some point. So I moved to the US. I had a few experiences like when I was younger. And I grew up Christian Orthodox. So like Jesus, Mother Mary, like Bible was like all my life. We weren't like fanatically like religious, but we would go to church every Sunday. And like, the basics, right? And I didn't really like believe in UFOs. I didn't know what channeling was, or parallel like realities, or extra dimensional beings, or anything like that. I mean, I was so into the matrix of like the 3D, that all I knew is like what I knew, which everybody else has known. I was so disempowered in so many ways. Like, I grew up in a very like poor environment, and like the whole lack mentality, and like not having money or not having blah 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 was all my life. And even like believing that I'm not worth it, and I'm not enough, and all these things that we all like go through. All of that was like part of my life up until I was 40 years old. So I'm 44. And like when COVID hit, which was about 4 years ago, like or so, just my consciousness opened up. That's the best way that I could describe it. And all of a sudden, like documentaries that, like, I don't search, like you only search for like things that you need to search for. These documentaries like begin showing up out of the blue on Netflix, or it was Amazon, sorry, all about aliens and UFOs. And then like channeling, and I learned like through them like what channeling is, not really knowing yet what it means, And that just opened up a whole new can of worms where I began like believing in that stuff. I began having UFOs coming over my house, these light ships. And then I had, go ahead.
Let me ask you real quick, Tony. Okay. So how old were you whenever you guys moved over here you said to DC's where you grew up?
Yeah, exactly. It was 1995 when we moved here.
Okay.
All
right.
15.
So you were a teenager. You came here. And you said your family was Christian Orthodox.
Christian Orthodox.
Okay. Which is still probably a minority from where you guys were coming from. Absolutely. Yeah.
Totally.
Now, nonetheless, though, I would I would still think that, I mean, were your parents kind of strict on the religious side too, or?
They weren't super strict, but they believed in Jesus and like they believed in Mother Mary and all the Bibles and like the whole 10 Commandments and, you know, which look, religion has its good parts, but like what I don't believe anymore is like the fear tactics or like the fear base that you do this, you go to hell. You do
absolutely.
But also that Jesus is inside of you, that like Mother Mary is inside of you. All these saints, Krishna, Buddha, all these labels are in your heart. That's what I learned. Beings. Yeah.
So, well, you know, the thing I find interesting. So, you know, coming from, you know, I guess your culture over into the, you know, moving here, did you have this kind of a hunch that you could, you know, you kind of had these abilities and things that you could do whenever you're 15?
No.
So it was just, zero. So what was it that kind of that kind of opened your mind up to being sensitive to these things?
You know what? When I kind of began channeling, I began remembering things like in my childhood and like along my childhood that I totally like forgot. So I didn't know anything about praying mantises, and I didn't think I actually connected with them. But the ironic part about it is when I began like rebuilding my connection like with them, they brought me back to a memory when we would go like to my grandmother's home in Lebanon, and there were praying mantis like insects all over her backyard, like all over, and like we would talk about it all the time. It almost feels like the memory was completely wiped of that, because I'm like, how can I not remember that? Because I love going to my grandmother's, I like loved her home, and how can I not remember that? And then little pieces like would come where I saw like I was in school, I was about I think 10 or like 11 years old, like back in Lebanon, and I saw the switch with like 3 other of my friends, this witch like flying, you know, on a broomstick, like literally in like the sky. All of us saw it. It was crazy. And then like these memories like would come of these little small instances, like I don't know, like once a year, like something would happen that's kind of big, but you kind of like push it out because, you know, it doesn't happen all the time. So it's like looking back, I have always had it, but I was not aware that it was there, and I wasn't aware that it was as real as it was. Right? Because there was one moment where I saw this child like peeking like in our hallway of our apartment, like back home in Lebanon. And I run to my mom like, oh my God, like, you know, I saw this little boy. And they said, oh no, like you watched a horror movie or like stop watching scary movies. And like she would dismiss them like that way, right? So there's a lot of dismissals by other people, and there's a lot of dismissals like perhaps like within my mind, because like you don't talk about these things openly, and like you don't talk about there's more than like what you see. So like looking back, I've had these little trickle things. And the cool thing is when I was 15 and like when we moved like to the US, and like listen to this is insane. I like didn't speak the language, and of course I like didn't have money at like 15 years old like to buy anything. But all of a sudden the SETI magazine, like the search for extraterrestrials began, exactly. Like began coming to my house. I never like subscribed for it. And like back then you would subscribe on the back of a magazine where like you check it and like you'd send a check.
Yeah, I remember back then.
Exactly. Well, I didn't have any checks. I didn't have any money. I barely spoke the language, but then all of a sudden this like magazine would come to my house every single month, like showing satellites in the sky. And then again, I was still like asleep. But like now looking back at it, that's another, all these little trickles or like breadcrumbs that were kind of showing themselves like to me that kind of brought me to this point, right? And so this is all I can remember. So who knows what else happened that I really cannot remember.
Let me do this real quick, Tony. So it seems like, I mean, now I'm sure a lot of our viewers and listeners, they're very familiar with the, alien UFO type culture and other type of beings. We do got a question real quick here. And, because we will be getting questions from the viewers. I'll read them. You try to answer them the best you can. But this is a pretty simple one. I don't want to mess up your name. So is it Holly? Let's hope I don't mess it up. But I apologize if I did. I'm an idiot. I'm sorry. But they want to know if you're on X/Twitter.
Yes, I am. So I have a marketing team that helps me with all with all these social medias because I'm really, really busy. So yes, I am there, and like you should see some postings and all my information.
Okay, fantastic. What is what is it? Is it Toni Ghazi or okay? So we can they can find you on there.
Yes, awesome. Or like the Antarean-Heart.
Antarean-Heart.
Okay. Antarean-Heart. Yes.
Okay. Cool deal. We'll definitely give him a follow at Antarean-Heart. But let me ask you this. So, you talk about the praying mantises, the praying mantis. Okay. Now, I remember, when I was first learning about, the different types of, aliens, if you want to call it, or other beings or other interdimensional beings, there is one of the praying mantis species, which is very interesting because whenever you do look in the insect world, the praying mantis is probably the most unique insect on this planet. There's nothing else really like it. Nothing. It's the actual, it's the predator. If you stick a praying mantis in there with another one, the other one's a goner. There's so many really cool things about that. Now, I've heard some people, who've had stories who have seen this. It's just not that long ago. There was a documentary that I was watching, and the person had referenced the praying mantis type beings. So, tell me a little more about that. Were you visited or anything like that?
Yeah. So. Let me begin by saying that I've always been afraid of insects. I don't like anything that's crawly, that has many legs, that looks very insectoidish. So, like the fact that I do connect with them and I find the love because they've made me experience what infinite unconditional love is. I see everything now. Like I love cockroach. Like I hated cockroaches, and like not because like they're.
Now you're in DC. When you say cockroaches, you need to specify. Are we talking about actual cockroaches or the politicians?
Oh my God, you're so funny. A good one. Well, let's stick with the insectoid version.
The bugs aren't that bad. There we go.
Yes, exactly. So like the fact that I really connect with them, and I was super afraid of anything that's crawly, like really tells me that, oh my God, there has been like an expansion that happened in my mind that allows me to see like insects from a different perspective. So I had a past life regression. It was actually my first past life regression, like probably, I want to say like a year after I began kind of watching these documentaries and all this crazy stuff happening to me, where when I placed under hypnosis, the first image that came was like the face of the praying mantis, like the upside down rectangular face. It was very clear. And like when I see that, I saw it in my mind's eye, but there was this like knowingness that came to me over me that I am them and they are me. And I have lived a life as a praying mantis. And all of a sudden it was like this massive download of like memories and just knowingness beyond belief that I am them and like they are me. The next image that came was like boom, boom, boom. And as fast as it was so infinite. Like it's hard to describe, like when you lose like a sense of time where it feels fast, but yet you're in the moment where you feel like there is no time anymore and everything is there. The next image that came is this long bodied silhouette of like 20 feet high. It looked like a human silhouette of light, but I also knew like within it that it wasn't human, but they had to appear to me in that way so my brain can like comprehend what it's looking at in the third eye, because it's almost like really challenging like for the mind like to comprehend the beyond if it hasn't experienced the beyond yet. It's just not going to make sense to it. And like through that 20 feet like long bodied silhouette of this pure light, they like said, we are the praying mantis beings and we really are not physical. We are of pure light, but we are like showing you like these images of like the physical like praying mantis to allow you to connect with the signature vibration and frequency of who we are. The next image, they show me a heart, but I'm inside and I have chills all over my body right now. I mean, like they're here. Well, there you go.
Oh, there's the chills.
You see, yeah, like this heart, and I'm inside the heart, and there's these infinite layers, of the heart. I was like in it, like looking at the infinity of like layers of the heart that was all faceted, and it was crystal, like clear crystal. But I cannot describe to you like the clarity, like of that crystal. It's like beyond the crystal clear that we think what crystal clear is. All these facets that continue on like forever, and a small spark of light. Like, and when I say small, like, and here are the chills again. This small like dot of light, as small as a grain of sand. And what like came through is we are, as like consciousness, you are such a strong force of light that you don't need a big fire to know what your power is. All you need is that small spark. That little spark reflected like a light off the one facet of the crystal, like to the next, to the next, to the next of the infinity, and created this Merkaba, or like vehicle of pure light. And they said, this is who you are. Oh my God, now it's even much higher. They said, like, this is who you are. And like, this is who everything is. This is what conscious, you are a pure vehicle of light. And after those three like successive like images, I immediately knew, and I got out of it, eventually, like when we were done, like knowing that I was them, they are me. And here comes kind of the beginning. It's almost like you opened up a book of what praying mantises are, and now I have all this information, about them. They begin coming like over my house in these light ships. I have all these recorded, on my phone. I can see orbs. And like they would, and of course I have them recorded here. I can see these light, I don't know, like magical beings like that would come in front of the screen, and I can show you the videos like later. It's just crazy things like started happening. And then I took one channeling class that just happened so like synchronistically. And look, like, I'm watching these channelers, and I'm hoping one day I can be a channeler, like not knowing that I can, or like that I will. But like when I took that class, from the first like class, I knew immediately that I can channel. And then I like began channeling, and I began connecting with them. They would appear and like show me their face every single time, like when I go under. And then like the story just unfolded from there, like to the point that I began like creating like crystal mantis skulls, the only one in the world. You've heard of the regular like human crystal skulls?
Yes.
And I have 8 of them, and I connect with them. And I went online one day, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna find like a crystal like mantis skull, really thinking they're out there and like nobody makes them in the world. But like, this is how much the knowingness of like what happened to me, like these are medium sizes, right? But like, this is how much like the connection that I had with them, that I really began like making them like for me, right? Because I wanted like the crystal skull. But now I help kind of sell them like all over the world, to help people like in a sense like reactivate like their memories of who they are, like which like beings they like you connect with, and like to like connect with their own divinity that's from the inside, right? And I always tell my people, like, you don't need any of these like crystal skulls or like praying mantises, but if you're on your journey and like you're looking to re-empower yourself so you can begin trusting the images, the memories, like the messages, your heart, that you are also divine, you can use them, and I can imbue them with all kinds of energies to help you heal and do this and do that, until you get to a point where you can do it on your own, because we all can channel. I'm not any extra special than anybody else. We're all gods. We are all gods. We're all divine beings. We all have that light like within us. We all have that power like within us. And my message and my purpose on earth is to remind you that you are, and for you to begin relying on your own intuition, your own message, your own like portal, and not to rely on like the rest of like the people. But on your journey, you may need some assistance, like you may need some help, you may need some guidance.
I don't belong to any certain type of belief system, but I do a lot of thinking. I do a lot of thinking. And, I've thought, I mean, well, first of all, I feel like I am the master of my own universe. if the negativity is there, it's up to me if I want to, yeah, I can cut it out, boom, be gone with it, and it's up to me. It's almost like we're all the creators, as far as our reality, our universe. And I have a tendency to lean towards that. I think I really do. I really, truly do think there's something with every one of us that we're much more control of our reality and our happiness than what we give ourselves credit for.
100%. And I'm so happy that you said that, because we are. Like the praying mantis always say, it is through your infinite power. And I'm going to close my eyes because I feel like I need to go like slightly under. It is through your infinite power as a divine creator that you create a world, an illusion that you are disempowered. Because if you were truly disempowered, how can you create anything? Right? So you create that illusion that you are disempowered to experience that facet of what it means to be disempowered. But what seems to be like disempowerment is really coming from full power. And you're absolutely like, right, you hit the nail on the head. It is within you, and you already have that knowingness, whether it is being articulated like I do or like the next channel. You already know it within you, because we all are. Our hearts are the projectors of our own reality. It's like a projector, like a movie projector, right? It's hanging like from the ceiling, and then you look on the wall, and there's this whole like story or a movie. That movie is not happening on the wall. It's not happening in front of you. It's from that box, and what that box is your heart. But if you don't believe that you are powerful, then you're going to continue creating stories of I am not powerful, right? I am separate than God, and your whole world becomes that. I don't have abundance. I'm not magic, and I love the fact that you call I love the fact that you call yourself I'm like the magician, because we are all magicians.
Absolutely. Well, I am a magician by trade, so I get paid to show card tricks and tell fart jokes. So I couldn't be any happier. But also at the same time, though, back to kind of what you said, I think, in a ways you kind of are what you think. What you think is your reality, and I think people. I think most people grasp that a little bit, but whenever it comes to the negative stuff that's happening in your life, they get drawn into the drama of these bad things, and then they feel like they don't have control because these things are happening. But actually, I think you have much more control than what you're giving yourself credit for. And this is just something that I have started trying to practice myself just the past 2 years. I'm like, this person, we don't click. It says working. I wish you the best, but you no longer exist. It's boom. Or this topic, let's get the, So, I mean, there's things that, and I notice just mental health wise, it's much more healthier.
Of course. Because listen, like we're all vibration, like we're all frequencies, like we're all sound, right? Like, I mean, if you think about the heart, boop, 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 it's a heartbeat. And like, what is that giving? It's giving out vibration. It is like giving out frequency. Like, what are the words that are coming like out of my mouth? It's all vibration, we're magicians. We're spelling out. When we spell a word, as magicians, we are creating a spell. So what you say, what you think, what you feel.
Absolutely.
You're creating.
Well, right? the term abracadabra. A lot of people know this, but the term abracadabra, okay, that's an old Arabic word, which means I create what I speak.
There you go.
So
there you go.
And people would wear it on their left side to ward off bad energy. I've got the tattoo right here on my left arm, abracadabra, abracadabra. So it's And I'm a firm believer in that. Exactly what you said, So I can totally agree with that. One thing I do want to touch base a little bit now. These praying mantis beings. Yeah. Okay. You said like they're more light, beings of like energy, light.
Yes. They're like very high dimensional, like they're very high vibrational. It's like some people call them like the founders, but like they're not the founders in the sense that they're higher than the other, right? Like, I'm like, there's no like hierarchy in their world. But in terms of vibration and like frequency, they're very vast. They create universes like through color frequency, like through sound vibration, and then through light frequency. They literally create like galaxies. They also work with a lot of other beings to help activate like DNA structures like within them, and like we're speaking like physical DNA and also like light body DNA to help them like expand more. And like one little thing about the praying mantis is, you know, I've been in Washington, D.C. like since 1995, which is whatever the math is, like 30 years plus. Never in my life, and when I say like never in my life, never have I seen an actual like insect of like the praying mantis in the backyard, anywhere like around me. When I began like connecting with them, they literally like would show up everywhere. I mean, it's insane. Like after all these years, how can they not show up? So I'm a realtor like by trade. So I sell real estate. Like that's my 3D like job. And I just want to show you in like your audience under my oh my goodness, under my favorites.
Let's see. I tell you what. If and what we'll do, Tony, is you know, when somebody does have some questions, we're getting close to our commercial break though. So I do want to hold off on any questions, guys. But if you guys do, when we come back from the commercial, if you've got any questions you would ask Tony, our production team will pop it up on the screen. We'll read it, and Tony will ask them to the best of his ability. I do have a question that I do want to touch base, like with the praying mantis, real quick too, because like I said, we just have because getting close to the break. But so you know, with you having a fear of insects, and most people do. Most people don't like the creepy crawlers. You know what I'm saying? Why would you think these beings would choose praying mantis as a form, a visual form for us to see, to connect with?
I mean, look, that's a very good question. I don't know why. Like, I would say, so it's okay. It's like we get downloads, right? So like what's coming through right now is, how else are you able to expand your world and expand really like your reality if you don't go through the aspects, you know, of life that make you fearful? And at the moment you get to know those being real, you realize that the fear you experience was based on a definition system that your society has created for you.
Absolutely.
You know, because now I begin seeing everything as consciousness, and I have chills again, like very much.
He's got chills. I tell you what, here we go. Well, you know, that makes sense now that I think about it, because even after after it came out of my mouth, I thought, well, wait a minute.
You know the answer.
Here's the thing. We have a tendency to pay more attention to something that we fear rather than something that we don't. So if we don't fear something, a lot of times we just write it off. You know, if they showed up as big old fluffy teddy bears, we'd all right, you know, boom. But maybe the praying mantis, maybe that's it. Maybe that might be a reason. But you know, like I said, you know, I have heard of the praying mantises before, so it's not nothing, you know, new to me. I've definitely heard this, and it's always interesting when I do hear it. And you know, people who aren't really familiar with this culture is what I call it, because that's what it is. You know, it may seem extremely strange to think that there's a species of praying mantis. In another dimension, and I like to lean on the interdimensional type thing.
And look, creation is everything. If you really like think about what creation means, creation is not what you only can see. Creation is whatever can be created as a creator. And if you are really like infinite, then you're infinite. So everything is possible. Whether
you're 100% correct, Tony. I tell you what, I want to pick up on this conversation right after the break. Guys, get your questions ready for Tony. We'll be back after these messages.
Have you ever wondered, or maybe just thought to yourself, if there were others just like you? You know, people with extraordinary abilities, psychogenic advancement, and perhaps unique intuitions. Maybe you just wondered if there were other people who experienced unimaginable, unexplained, or even unusual and paranormal events. Are there people who have more questions, more fears than answers? Well, you're not alone. You've never been alone. We believe you. Sign up for EA today.
Business. It's your property. Your assets are worth protecting. Blacklight Investigative and Surveillance Services specializes in patrolling and inspecting residential or commercial property against fire, theft, vandalism, terrorism, and illegal activity. People and buildings are monitored to prevent crime. Keep your property, your people, and your assets safe from threat. Our elite staff are dual licensed private investigators and security guards. Blacklight Investigative and Surveillance Services. Go to blacklightiss.com.
All right, guys, we are back here. And if you're just now tuning in, we have been talking with Toni Ghazi. He is a channel and spiritual guide. Now, Toni, one thing I wanted to pick up on, we were talking about we talking about creation, correct?
Yes.
Well, and don't get me wrong, I'm a big fan of philosophy. I love philosophy, and I cannot quote the philosopher who said this, but I know it was said by one of the old school guys, one of the old school Greek dudes. But basically, if you can imagine it, it either exists or can exist. And I say this all the time because like when you look at the chair you're sitting on right now, that was an idea first. That was, everything around you was an idea. So, and kind of to pick up what you said earlier, is that kind of similar to what you were talking about?
Listen, you connect to the praying mantises more than you think you do, because I cannot believe you said you used the word imagination, because about like a month and a half, 2 months ago, they were harping a lot about what imagination is. In our minds, we think that imagination is me thinking of something that doesn't exist to create it. What they said is, how are you able to imagine anything that isn't already there?
Exactly. I'm a big believer in that.
Yes, but they went one step further. They said you always talk about contact. That, oh, like you want a spaceship to come down. Oh, like you want a gray alien to come down. Oh, like you want a praying mantis or all these beings like to come down. You are creating making contact as you imagine, because like what they said is, for you to be able to imagine something different and new, you would have to connect first with that consciousness that exists out there, and know that and I'm getting chills again, and know that consciousness out here that is not there on your on your planet is communicating like back to you and giving you the information that you need to create it in this life. So you are making contact with all kinds of consciousnesses, all kinds of aliens, whatever you want to call them, and you're not making anything up from nothing. You are literally like dialoguing, and they, as you dialogue with them without realizing you are, they are also imagining you and bringing your aspect into their life, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful co-creation and dance. So imagination, imagination. We are a nation of magicians. Just
well, I mean, I'm totally, like I said, I think, you know, if you, okay, even if you want to look at it from a science evolutionary process, okay, we have hands to grab things, we have eyes to see light, noses, senses, and there's a reason why we're able to have an imagination. And I think you know, people have written off when they hear, oh, it's just your imagination, it's fake. No. We have an imagination more than, you know, to just conjure up these things that don't exist. I don't think that you can. I'm kind of on the same boat with you there. You know, it's like if it has to exist if you can imagine it, you know. So, but here we do got a question here from Brooke to himself. Jeff Goldblum in The Fly, ever heard of insect politics? So I guess he's throwing a quote from the movie The Fly. Okay. And Brooke, you know, insect politics. I guess I'm trying to remember the movie because it was a great movie. I'm trying to remember the movie though. What that, you know, what he meant by that, I guess.
I don't recognize the movie or the expression, but you know,
it's a classic. It's a very classic movie. It was actually a remake of a classic, but basically Jeff Goldblum winds up turning into a fly. But I guess he's talking to maybe the hierarchy in the insect world. Which definitely would be, you know, the praying mantis, you know, here. But I think, you know, like I said, I kind of lean on the light being. Oh, well, we got a question here from Jay Danzig.
Sure.
I thought we were covering gray aliens on this episode too. So far, it's all mantis talk. Okay. Jay wants to talk about the grays. So let's do this. We'll back off. We'll back off from the mantis. You know a little something about grays too, correct, Tony?
Yeah, I do. I've connected with them actually, and actually the praying mantis work a lot with the grays, and like they like see all of their projects, right? And of course, when you speak of gray to the person that just asked that question, know that there are a lot of factions or different varieties of grays. You have tall whites, you have like short grays, but then there's also grays that we don't or haven't like connected with. So and
I've heard so many crazy theories about with the grays. Like, you know, I'm currently reading Luizondo's book Imminent that just was released.
Yes.
And he mentioned grays kind of being like the worker bees of the Nordics. Have you ever heard that theory? Kind of like, well, even
I've heard of the hive mind mentality, so it may be.
Well, I mean, like he even in this book compares, like he talks about the insect world is brought up, and you know, a lot of people don't know this, but actual ants have pets, a smaller degree of a tinier type of insect, and they have like almost like I guess it's almost like a cattle type, they get some type of sweet something off these tinier insects and they keep them around, you know. So like the grays in his when someone's theory is like they're kind of worker bees to the Nordic type beings.
Yeah. Well, listen, like here's my advice to all your audience. Whenever you read these books, whenever you see like these documentaries, whenever you experience, stuff that other people's perspective are being shared, remember that that's their perspective from their creation, from their lens. The idea when you are exposed to this information is to begin trusting your own intuition and your own discernment of which grays you want to connect with or are meant to connect with on the higher context of what my mission is here, like on Earth. So don't put all of your stock on what's being read because it's only one perspective from that person who wrote the book or whatever, or saying the X, Y, and Z. Actually, like ants are amazing beings. If you go back to the Hopis and indigenous like beings, they've worked with the ant people for years and years and years. They're also like in terms of hierarchy, although they don't see themselves as higher like than or like less than, they are kind of very enlightened beings. And also like you have to remember from the aspect of like the grays, they're also experiencing their life in their way, the way that we see them and the way that we project who we think like they are. And everything that you see on our Earth in terms of, like a praying mantis, like eating, the head, or like the female, they say they eat, I think it eats the head of the male or whatever the case is.
Absolutely. Praying mantis does. Yeah.
Yeah. Or like some other insect does this to that. It's all reflecting back where humanity is. In terms of their ascension, the more that we hate each other, the more that we divide ourselves like from each other, the more that we judge each other within our own circles, or even beyond our circles, that gets reflected back through all the consciousnesses that are out there, right? So all these are like barometers to see where we are on like the ascension level. Because the moment our humanity gets to the point where we like love each other, clearly, unconditionally loving each other, the whole reflection of these animals, these insects will change. You won't see predation anymore. You'll see like love. You'll see all these animals that you would think they would eat each other, or like loving each other, like being like with each other, right? So like the same thing like with the grays is like whenever you're exposed to one type of gray, see what that's reflecting back to you in your own life. There's always a message in everything that's happening outside of you, because again, you're projecting it from your heart out to give yourself the message back.
Well, like I've talked to a lot of people, a lot of experiencers, on the alien abduction side, and yes, it's normally always the grays that come visit them. Why is that?
Well, listen, there has been the narrative like from the government that grays are bad, that everything is like gray related. So we're experiencing that story over and over again. It's being written to us for us to keep like experiencing, because like what you don't realize, and I go back to the mind, right? The message that like the mantis like gave me when they like appeared as this long bodied like light silhouette as a human like silhouette. They said your mind's not able to comprehend or create an image of who we actually are, because it's beyond the like limited belief system that's within like your mind. So oftentimes when humans experience an abduction, because we have written a pre-programmed story, abductions happens by grays, we experience and we create the grays, but it could be a completely other being, right? And also the idea of abduction, I don't believe in. There's no abduction of any kind. We co-create things with other beings, and they're already not pre-written, but pre-agreed upon for our own expansion, right? Because again, nothing is happening to you; everything is happening through you.
So you think there is an experience happening, but it's not the negative experience maybe that individual thinks it is.
Exactly, because within its brain, he felt certain codes that mimic what the story has been predetermined in the mind, and he begins experiencing that. This is why in the state of fear, in the state of that experience, whatever it is, when you surrender, that's the key. When you surrender what's happening, then clarity will like reveal itself, and you'll see exactly what you're dealing with. And what you'll realize then is, and I'm getting chills again, what you realize again is that
we're gonna call you Dairy Queen. You got the grill and chill. There we go.
I love it. What you will like realize then in the surrender is what you're experiencing then is another version of who you are to begin with. Because to begin with, you are all the facets. You are the Greys, you are the Mantises, you are like the Nordics, you are the like Pleiadians, you are all these beings. You are the insect, you are the plant, you are the butterfly, you are the wind, you are the all these planets. Because truly, what God is, or like Source is this consciousness that has split itself into all these little pieces that we call Earth and alien, this and that, right? And it did that in order to experience itself from those perspectives and from those angles, so it can expand. Because how else can you expand if you're living the same story over and over again? You only expand through different stories, through different lenses, through different views, through different experiences, right? So when you really like surrender, you realize everything that's in front of you really is a piece of who you are, which is God, which is Source.
So what do you, I mean, okay, now most people don't walk around in, like this, they don't, they look at experiences based off their own experience, and this is what happened to me. And and I get what you're saying. It's almost like, people, if you've been told something over and over and over, it could be a piece of negativity, something that's how you're going to view it. Now, what does it take for someone to be able to achieve what you're doing with the channeling and these other types of things?
I get those questions all the time, that I'm starting to create a program to help people really tap into their power. So also do like executive coaching, and I help CEOs and other people all of all like walks of life to redefine who they are, to remember again the divinity and the power that is within them. And it takes, look, there's the old paradigm where it said, oh, you have a 12-step program. Oh, you have to take all these months worth of X, Y, and Z to redefine yourself. I don't believe in that anymore. I believe in the quantum healing and like the quantum speed that you are in this now moment. If you begin believing at least the conceptual idea, right, of of like something you can propel yourself in like such a fast speed that you don't need 3, 4, 5, 6 months to begin like living those ideas. Because what are those ideas to begin with? They are consciousness. They are you. Be them, right?
Yeah.
And like thinking with the mind, because you mentioned like earlier, you think a lot or you analyze a lot, I think, or like you use a specific word that, brain, the mind, the brain is already like physical and is already contracted to be like dense, like from consciousness. So it's already limited. But the praying mantis like oftentimes said, it's okay to use your mind, but remember that it like limited in terms of what it can understand beyond. So allow to tap into your allow your energy consciousness, whether you understand what it is, like to a point, is really like irrelevant. And don't get caught up into the fact I need to understand what consciousness is. Begin like speaking to yourself. I am a physical body, I am this, but I'm also have this energy that's like beyond me, that's really vast. Begin allowing that consciousness, that energy to tap into the unknown, to bring back to the limited mind what it needs to formulate to help you expand.
Okay, so let's, Brooke's got a question. Pop this up here for me real quick, man. Last comment here about Brooke that just popped up. Okay. He goes, I wish I could channel. Nothing will talk to me, not even my subconscious. Any advice give Brooke some advice here?
Please keep that there, right? Read the words that remember, you're a magician. Everything you say, you are creating. Wish I could channel. What does that mean? I wish I could channel. That which could happen tomorrow, it could happen a million years from now. There's no belief that I am a channel. That makes a big difference. Nothing will talk to me. Literally, you're creating the experience. Nothing will talk to me. Not even my subconscious. You went even specific, not even. And the trick is you are being communicated with all the time. You have always channeled. We always have channeled. When you have a moment where you lose like track of time, whether you're singing or you're writing something or you're in the body of an email or you're dancing or you're in the car and like daydreaming, when you lose track of time, that's channeling. And in that moment where you realize, oh, like where was I? You're becoming aware that you were in a channeled state. So we're already doing it, but we're creating the illusion that we're not through our words. So easy trick is to begin writing that. So instead of saying, wish I could channel, I am already a channel. Nothing will talk to me. Everything is talking to me. not even my conscious. Well, that's specific, right? You can say, I'm speaking to my subconscious. And in that moment of just uttering those words, allow them to be like within your consciousness. I always say myself that I'm magic, I'm miracles, and I'm magnificence. Always, every day, even if like something occurs that like seems to be challenging, I don't say negative anymore. I don't say like even the word challenging. I say it's expansive for my soul. Everything that I go through, whether it's good or bad or evil in between, is expanding my soul. That alone, a lot, like I'm expanding my soul. So I'm becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. And the bigger that you become, the bigger that you learn. You're more than this body. You're becoming more expansive. So be careful of what you're saying and don't judge yourself. Judgment is another huge thing to allow yourself to expand. Our like culture, our society, our schooling system, our parents, our culture, all of it is all about judgment. Judgment separates. Don't judge yourself. What integrates back is pure love, pure unconditional love. Love every version of who you are, every version that made every decision. Love every decision that you made. In your mind, you made. Please.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I want to say this, Tony.
Yes.
Very positive stuff. Very positive stuff coming out of here. I love that. I do got another question though I want to ask because time is we're getting close here towards the end of the show. This is something because come back to the beings aspect, the grays, the praying mantis, and there were some others that we didn't even touch on at all.
Yes.
Do these beings know of each other's existence? And have you ever had any hints of do the mantis like the grays? Do the grays like the
That's a very human way of asking. It's so limited.
It is very human. It's very human.
And look, it's okay because as this big consciousness like that we all were, we decided to come to this humanity with the idea of being limited to experience us from the limited perspective to get out of the darkness into the light. To expand. So yes, they are like aware of each other, but they don't see each other from the way that we see it. They're already expanded. They are consciousness. They know that they're all like part of one. They know that they are aspects of each other. They know that they are interconnected and interrelated to each other. That's already like built in like within their knowingness. So there is no separation. And they also understand that each being is playing their role to help everybody else expand, because as you interact with one being, whether it's mantis or alien or gray or extraterrestrial, extra dimensional, you're both co-creating, and that co-creation is like sending information back to source. This is how source keeps expanding and expanding, is through all of our interactions, all of our experiences, all of our everything. But always, we as we pose these questions, they're coming from the limited brain and all of the definition systems in the pre-programming that we were taught the world and the universe is. Challenge always yourself to, so like whenever you ask a question, ask it and like stop yourself, kind of dissect it in a way that's more expanded, like the same way like that I dissected where the person said I cannot channel, I cannot even connect with my subconscious or whatever. Challenge yourself to see it from a different way, and that alone, the act of that would already expand you and allow you like to connect with more, and will allow you to see what the grays are seeing from their perspective. Because the more you expand, the more you have access to more, to all, to everything, to the mantises, to the grays, to the Pleiadians, to all the other beings.
So is this something now you had mentioned channeling, like you would, did someone teach you how to do this, or is it something you kind of learn on your own, or?
No, so I took a class for 6 weeks where we met on Zoom. Like this was during COVID. It was 2 hours every week for 6 weeks, but I knew from day number one that I could channel. And like, to me, my little hint was my stuttering. And like, you haven't seen me channel, and I would love to channel for you like one time, if like you're open and like you're welcome to have the audience there, like to ask questions. Like you'll see that my flow of speech is different. And that was my little hint and clue that, oh my God, I'm in a complete different state. But also like when I come out of like the channeled state, it's almost like a dream. Like, you know, like when you're dreaming and like you wake up, you're like, oh, I was dreaming. There's a stark contrast. Wow, I was dreaming, but now I'm in my body. That's how I feel like every single time. It's a very clear.
So it's like an out-of-body type of experience that you're having, correct?
Exactly. And then the images that they bring me, the feelings, the experiences, the words that come out of me, the description of things that I don't even know where it came. I mean, look, I'm like, we all know, like, as humans, like the bank of information we have in our minds, the imagination that we imagine. A lot of the information, I'm like, no way on earth it came from my brain, because I know my brain is very limited in how much it has. So it's just amazing. And we all can do it, and we all do it, and we all use it every day. We're just not aware that we do. And because we're not aware that we do, we still think that we cannot.
Well, I'll tell you what, Tony, let's do this, man. This has been such a interesting conversation. A lot of positivity, a lot of positive message have come out of this. We did mention, that they could follow you on Twitter, X, at what was it again? What was the handle?
The Antarean-Heart.
The Antarean-Heart. Where else, if they want to learn more about Tony, where can the viewers and the listeners learn more about you?
Thank you so much. If you go to my website, my first name, last name.com, TONIGHAZI.com. All of my information there. I'm on like Facebook, I'm on Instagram, all of the social medias. And like they're linked to my YouTube, and like there's more information, about myself, about the Praying Mantis, all the events that I go to. I have an event packed until next June. And there's like a lot more coming up. I'm going to be in a movie like for executive coaching and like spirituality in like 2026. We're going to begin filming that. It will be on Amazon. I'm also in the process of writing a book, channel messages like from the Praying Mantises, and like a little bit, about my story. A lot going on in addition to my real estate world, which that's there too. So like my website is like the best way that can lead you, into all the other information.
That sounds awesome. Well, I tell you what, Tony, thank you so much for coming on Beyond the Tinfoil Hat, man. This has been an interesting conversation, and we'll have to have people head over to your website, man, where they can learn more about you.
Thank you, Danny. Really appreciate it. Love you all. Remember, you're all magicians. You all have the power to change, create whatever life that you desire instantaneously. Believe me when I say that, instantaneously.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tony.
You're welcome, Danny.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for the questions. Thank you guys for showing up, checking out. We're at a new time. We're at 7 o'clock. This is how it's going to be. We're going to be at 7 p.m. streaming live here on YouTube. If you guys have not done so, be sure to head over to Patreon. Heed the world. Show us a little bit of love. $4, man. $4. That's all it costs. All right. Also, if you have not, subscribe, like this episode, like some episodes, watch past episodes. Just watch, okay? But definitely let people know, share it. And like always, we are broadcasting live from the United Public Radio Network, the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 FM, the Gulf Coast, and 107.7 New Orleans. Guys, my name is Danny Whitson. I will see you guys next Tuesday at 7 p.m. All right, that does it for this episode of Beyond the Tinfoil Hat. A big shout out for tonight's awesome guest, and a bigger shout out for everyone who tuned in. And if you haven't done so yet, be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube or wherever it is you listen to your podcasts. And like always, be sure to stay curious, heed the world, and keep the paranormal normal. I'm your host, Danny Whitson, and this has been Beyond the Tinfoil Hat.